Over the break, did everybody have a chance to study the new AYCA draft contracts? Because we're having a quiz on that now. Is the quiz ready, Missy? Okay. All right, just kidding. But I know this is the moment you've all been waiting for because this is such an exciting topic. And it really is quite exciting, and it's not as daunting or intimidating as you might think. The Monterey Waiver came about because we used to very tediously lobby a congressional representative to attach a Jones Act waiver to a bill going through Congress in order to get to allow a yacht to be able to charter under a commercial contract. We're talking about U.S. flag, U.S.-owned yachts that are approved by U.S. Coast Guard licensed captain. And owners hated the demise contract. The charter clients hated the demise contract. And we all heard reasons why that is not ideal. It puts the charter client at risk. It's not covered under the insurance policy. And, a lot of, heavy language in there. So the MARAD waiver, which was, MARAD stands for Maritime Administration, Independent Department of Transportation, allowed a yacht to achieve commercial status post-price trade, and that is because the yacht is more than 3 years old, owned by a user, and chartering U.S. waters. So that is really the ideal scenario, and it's a way not to have to use the demise contracts. It's much more attractive for charter clients and yacht owners. 25 years ago, we had a lot of harbors and swans and oysters and other foreign-built boats that were chartering very actively here in the U.S. And they had to use the demise contracts. No option. And today, we have a much easier way to achieve the Jones Act waiver, the MARAD waiver, which is online, and we passed out information about this and the procedure, and we just apply, pay a $500 fee, and we go usually within 60 to 90 days we receive the waiver and can charter and obtain the Coast Rights Trade endorsement on your U.S. Coast Guard license for the road registration and have a waiver to the Jones Act and charter with a commercial contract. So, did everybody receive a copy of the MARAD waiver information?
Speaker?
Yes. Oh, okay. So, that's better.
Thank you.
Anything that you didn't hear like we did? So, MARAD waiver is a waiver to the Jones Act. Do you understand that? And do you understand what the Jones Act is? An old law that restricted boats that were not built in the U.S. from doing commercial activity in the U.S. So by having a waiver to that, the yachts can apply for post-price trade and charter without the demise contract, the commercial contract here in the U.S. Okay. Anything else? Yes, Missy?
Well, I think everyone should know that Karen Kelly was actually one of the people that got the MARAD waiver established. When the Passenger Vessel Safety Act passed, the law was already written that gave the rights to coastwise trade through congressional waiver or a application, but there was no application manner.
There was no application. You had
to do congressional waiver, and that was a vote-by-vote waiver request that had to go to the House of Representatives Maritime Committee and be attached to the back of a bill that was going to come out like the Coast Guard Appropriations Package. And Karen, after the Passenger Vessel Safety Act was passed and the Coast Guard was helping us get a lot of yachts properly endorsed and moved off the demise contract, because that's what the main reason for the Passenger Vessel Safety Act was to get yachts off the demise contract and control, so there would be no more than 12 on the demise contract. But at any rate, Karen ended up through Patrick Kennedy, the Rhode Island House of Representatives representative, to the Maritime Committee, attaching about 90 congressional waivers to the back of a House Appropriations bill, and the Maritime Committee in Congress, who had to approve every single one of those congressional waivers, said, make an application process. And that's where MARAD came from.
Thank you. Yeah.
Get the coastwise trade endorsement.
It is much simpler now. 60 to 90 days as opposed to about 3 years on average to get a Jones Act waiver 20 years ago. It made a huge difference. So I think it's important that as an industry we make sure that our yacht owners are aware that there's an option. If it's a U.S. foreign-built, U.S. flag boat, it is owned by a U.S. owner, and has a U.S. Coast Guard licensed captain, there's an option. They can apply for a waiver of the Jones Act and charter under commercial contract. Not put charter clients at risk, not have to worry about charter's legal liability insurance. And if you think the demise contract is confusing, this is a very good solution. And the commercial contract is much more straightforward. You don't have to explain all that gobbledygook to your clients. And it's everybody's happy in the end. So please spread the word that there's an option. And any U.S. flag boat out there, you could ask them when you go on board, have they looked into a MARAD waiver so that you don't have to use the demise contract? And that's the only way you get change to happen, is by everybody saying it over and over. Any other questions?
Right. And it's just 90 days usually and $500. So.
I've got a question. Have you seen any past been refused? If you applied, have you seen any refused? Is there any real reason?
So my understanding is the only way they're going to refuse it if you provide fraudulent information or something that's incorrect. Although we have had, there is a 30-day, after the application, there's a 30-day period when someone, it was public, it gets posted and someone can object to it. And this, we've heard this happening in Alaska, but that's the only place I've heard.
Right. If you apply for a MARAD waiver, it's probably important to apply just for the East Coast and the West Coast of the continental U.S. because there is a very healthy guy who's not going away anytime soon, who has one little uninspected passenger vessel yacht in Alaska, who feels that he has to protect his investment and has been able to be set up to be alerted every time a MARAD waiver goes in that includes Alaska, and he objects. It takes only one objection right now. We're trying to have that changed and work with MARAD and the Coast Guard on that, but it only takes one objection and the MARAD waiver is refused. So don't include Alaska for now.
In the application process, you have to say where your intended operation is, but you don't have to mention Alaska. I think that just is a red
Yes,
flag.
you just mentioned West Coast U.S., East Coast U.S., do not include Alaska.
I had an objection in New York City by a small vessel day charter operator, so we had to exclude New York only. And another thing is, it's taking about 5 months now, so yeah, I just had 2 approved. And it took 5
Well, that's
months
great.
for one.
Congratulations.
I'm sorry?
Congratulations, that's
Thank
great.
you.
We have 2 approved. That's really good. So that's good to know. Jeff says it's taking about 5 months now. I think everything's behind with the government due to the pandemic still. Anybody else have any questions about this exciting topic?
Is it a 2-part process?
It's
The MARAD and then the endorsement, isn't there?
after you receive the MARAD waiver, then you apply to add coastwise trade.
I just know some folks get it and then I think that's the end.
That's not the end. We want to get coastwise trade. That's the gold standard for us. All right. Well, now time for the roundtable then, I guess, right?
Thanks, Karen.